everybody out to our meeting tonight. It's February 21, 2024. Present for our public hearing is Lori Thomas, Commissioner Lori Thomas, John Stout, and Severin Johnson, and myself, Wayne Cranston. We're going ahead with a public hearing having to do with a request being made by Dean and Janet Egbert for a rezone of their property here in Woodland Hills. The time is 7:02. We'll commence the public hearing. I don't see anybody on the screen who has zoomed in who would want to speak at our public hearing. It's noted that Dean Egbert is here present, and during our work session, we'll give him an opportunity to present what he wants to do. And there's no one else here in the building. Oh, Brian. He said he was going to tune in. Brian, his new assignment is to oversee the Planning Commission from a city council person, so he'll be attending with us periodically and be zoomed into us on occasion as well. Do you have any public comment, Brian, with the rezone request?
Nope, not at all.
Okay, thank you. I see no other people zoomed in, and there's no one else present here tonight. So we will conclude the public hearing at 7:04. We will go into our Planning Commission meeting. Lori, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? And John, would you offer invocation?
Yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we come before thee this night as a planning commission for the Woodland Hills City. We are grateful for this city, Father, and are thankful for this responsibility to see some of the issues and try to help with anything that we can. We pray that thy Spirit will attend us, that we may be able to make decisions based on what is best for our city. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. I'm going to defer the public comment. I understood that there may be a person who had some public comment, but they're not here, so we'll come back to that later. First item of business is our January 17th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting minutes. I sent a copy out to everybody shortly after our last meeting, and I don't think I got any feedback that there were corrections or errors to be made on the January one.
Oh, okay.
We made some on the, I think, November one. So I take a motion on January 17, 2024 minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the January 17th, 2024 minutes.
Okay. Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I wasn't here, but I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Very well. The next item on the agenda is a rezone request being submitted by Dean and Janet Egbert, who presently reside at 121 West Lakeview Way Dean, turn some time over to you if you'd like to explain in a little more detail what your plans are. You can turn that microphone on so the green thing comes on.
It's
on.
green.
Oh, it's okay. And just go ahead and let us know what you're wanting to do here.
Well,
We've got your application too, so.
okay, and I guess that was my first question, is the paperwork that you have adequate? You've got everything you need?
Yes.
Okay. And we don't have any imminent plans on this. We just, we had 4.5 acres, and a lot of it was just sitting unused, and we thought that someday we may want to build or sell, and it seemed like a good time to do it with our neighbors having just subdivided and knowing all the ropes, and so that's why we did this. The piece that we wanted to subdivide off is kind of to the west of where we live. There's really nothing happening on that piece at all. There's no development at all at this point, so
No buildings or outbuildings or anything.
nothing.
Okay.
So I don't know, that's basically what our thoughts were, and if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to entertain those.
So is this your piece of property the way it is now?
Right.
And you want to take off maybe this
Yeah,
piece that sticks out?
that's kind of how the division
Oh,
we had
okay.
when we had engineers look at it.
I see that some of the surrounding property is already zoned 1 acre. It's kind of a combination of 2 acre zone and 1 acre zone
Yeah,
there, so it would appear that it wouldn't be out of the ordinary to have another parcel there zoned.
yeah, the parcel is, I think, 1.68 acres that we were thinking to subdivide off, and that would leave us something like 2.9, I think, on the property that we're living on.
You understand you'll have to pay you'll have to pay another water standby fee on that.
Yeah, I've already talked to the guy, Mark Wangsgard, and just kind of waiting for this to go through before I send the check to him.
Okay. At the point of when you start the subdivision process and do a final on that, that's when you'll have to have the water share
Okay.
at that point in time, so.
So what is that exactly, the subdivision process?
I see, and you turned that in, and I don't know if it's complete, I haven't looked at that, but
Okay.
I know there's paperwork there that we've got, and we'll have to work with you further on that. You would request, there's 2 plats required, a preliminary plat, which is almost the same as a final if all the work's been done and everything has to be surveyed and marked out and whatnot. And then that's presented to us, and then it goes to the city council with our recommendation. And then once they approve the preliminary plat, that's Larry. Excuse me. Once the council approves a preliminary plat, then it comes back and there's a final plat done. And if the preliminary plat is complete, as it needs to be, then basically it's just a reiteration for the final plat. And at the final plat then is where you need to have the water shares have been purchased, turned over to the city.
Okay.
And then that goes to the city council as well for final approval. And once that's done, then you'll need to have a Mylar done, which is what we use to record now the division of the lot. And it's basically pretty much the same as a final plat, the detail and so forth that's on it.
Okay.
And then it gets recorded with the county recorder and becomes all official,
And we're
everything.
done.
So when that time comes, we can walk through some more,
Okay,
there's
that'd be appreciated.
thing there, so not a problem.
And these you'll need a civil engineer
These, yeah, we had.
Not for-
Get it-
not for
Not for
this.
this,
Have you-
Oh,
but when you create the Mylar and things like that, you'll need
Is that
Okay.
like what
somebody
he was
involved, yeah.
Yeah.
okay. That may be part of what I'm paying him for, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it might be. You're buried down that road.
Very good. Any other questions?
Yeah, my question is, where is the proposed dividing line? You're gonna have, how many lots are you proposing?
Just divide one lot into two. There's,
We don't have that, or they don't have that copy to
Say it's coming
see
out.
how the division's going to be.
All right, is that what it's doing?
Okay, my concern is, are we going to meet the frontage requirement?
yeah, it's 150 feet.
I've looked at it, yeah.
All right,
I mean, we made
So
sure.
we'll still
when
have
they-
150 on that frontage for the road.
What's that?
We need 150 right here.
No, 70.
70 is.
70
Okay.
for frontage. So he'll have plenty with the design that he's.
I thought it was
Proposing
150,
there.
but anyway.
You're the last one on the street, aren't you?
What's that?
Are you the last one on the street?
No,
There's still more that are.
no, it just bends and keeps going on both sides.
Who has that lot next to you, Dean?
Which
That's not
way?
built on? The large
To
one?
the east,
Who?
to the east,
Yeah.
it's the one that's about, the big one.
Yes.
I'm not sure now. It was, Nate, Crow
Oh,
bought it.
he divided it.
I think he divided.
Yes,
yeah,
if that was,
divided
if that's
the-
his lot.
The piece on Valley View off, but there's still the large piece. And I'm not sure if he still owns it or not.
Okay. Yeah, I remember him going through this process.
It says that he owns it on the county records.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I was just curious if who owned that lot, but,
It's been up for sale for quite a while.
oh, okay.
I know he bought it a few years ago and then I haven't heard much since. So.
Any other questions? Let's go ahead and even though it's a work session, or kind of combined all in one tonight, I'll take a motion to approve the rezone then from an R1-2 to an R1-1 for the lot at 121 West Lakeview Way.
So it's,
I'll make a motion to approve rezone at 121 West Lakeview Way.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Very well. We'll forward this to the city council then, and Jody will be in touch with you. It likely will be on the next city council meeting.
Larry's here.
Oh,
Hi, Larry.
There he is.
very good. Can you hear us? You're muted.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Did you hear the last recommendation? The
Yes,
proposal for the rezone?
and I voted aye.
Okay, very well, thank you. Okay, that takes care of that, Dean. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, and we'll be in touch.
Aye.
We've got a copy of that, so, very good. Thank you. Larry, thanks for joining us. I didn't take your call because I was in the middle of something, so,
Not a problem, just had trouble signing in, but I'm there now.
okay, good. Next item on the agenda is a discussion of swimming pool setbacks. Our current ordinance says that swimming pools take on the setbacks of the yard, which is a home, same as a home. And we've had some issues with swimming pools a little bit, and nobody knows why it's yard setbacks rather than even accessory building setback or something else entirely different. Salem doesn't have any requirements for a swimming pool, interestingly enough. Payson,
At all?
They don't have anything at all?
not confined, yeah.
Not even fencing requirements?
So they're just basically going off of state code then? They have to be,
Possibly.
something like that. But they don't have anything in their own.
No.
Interesting.
Now Payson does. They have two requirements. It can't be on an easement, and it has to be at least 5 foot setback. So, there's two setbacks involved in our code. One is a 20-foot setback from a resident, and nobody knows why it's that way. Ted has done a search of the IBC and IRC codes, and he can't find where any setback is addressed with the state code. There's an
Well,
electrical.
there's an offset from property line that they talk about,
Okay,
but it's 5 feet.
all right.
But there's nothing from
Hi,
house.
Brad.
Hello.
Hey, Brad.
I was here on time even early, and I didn't check that door. I checked every other door.
Oh, no.
Anyway, sorry.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's my fault. I didn't even know.
It is kind of a little big door off
Yeah,
to
if
the
you don't-
side.
if you don't know.
All those rooms and anyway.
They're all locked, yeah. This is Brad Lunt. He's currently having a swimming pool built.
Currently.
Welcome to the party.
Kind of long project. But we just started a little bit of a discussion about possibility of changing our ordinance. There's some questions about why our ordinance is the way it is, and we're not quite sure with some of the standards and requirements. But would like to give you an opportunity to have your thoughts presented, where we can hear them and your views on setbacks. We know there are some issues, so you don't need to go into detail with that at all, but your thoughts on maybe an ordinance change that would be more appropriate to have and for swimming pools. So if you please, let me get you to do this. Go to that mic, or just pull that microphone over the table, whatever works.
It's on.
Okay,
So-
thank you. Yeah, so I'm Brad Lunt. Live right here by John Stout, up above the park. 3-year resident. And yeah, so we're in the middle of building a pool. And I guess my ask to the city council would be to just possibly look at the ordinances in place, the setback rules, and possibly see if there's room for, I guess, when talking to Ted in the city, it was kind of just like, why, or the ones that are currently in place, just maybe go over those and kind of see why they're necessarily in place. And then also I'd ask to look at other cities, see what's kind of the normal. It seems that the Woodland Hills is maybe not the norm, where some of the current setbacks are maybe for the pool are maybe due to other structural ordinances, but maybe not pool ordinances. Whereas what we're seeing with other cities is pool ordinances are often a little closer to the home or the fence. And then also here in Woodland Hills, lots of the lots, unless you have a big, nice flat backyard, which due to the landscaping here in Woodland Hills, there's not much flat space. I think that would be another reason to revisit the setback rules, just because, giving a homeowner the chance to get closer to the fencing or the home would be a valuable, like if you want a pool, you kind of need to get closer to those areas, because you don't have a lot of room to work with when it comes to a pool layout typically.
I know that when somebody builds a residence, that's the first thing on their mind. And usually it's in the center of the lot or something like that, where you've got a lot of surrounding tree, up here, trees and foliage where you're kind of what's the word? Secluded
Yeah.
in that area. And then they think, a couple of years goes by and they think, geez, it'd be nice to have a pool, but they put the house in the middle of a lot, and it's really difficult oftentimes then to find, with our setbacks, a place where the pool would fit if they wanted to do that. So I think there's some value with that. Let me share again with the Planning Commission here, as well as you, what I found. Payson, their swimming pool setback is 5 feet from the property line. And they also have a restriction that it can't be on an easement. Pool can't be on an easement. And that's the extent. Well, the pool can't be forward from the front plane of the home also. So it's not in the front yard, it's, on the side or to the back.
Makes sense.
So that's essentially their standard, their requirements. Salem, I couldn't find anything with Salem and their swimming pool standard and setbacks and things in their ordinance. We've checked with the International Residential Building Code and both the international and the local and the state building code, and it's silent on setbacks for swimming pools.
Okay.
It talks a lot about the electrical part of things, but it doesn't address any setbacks. So it's all,
It does address yard setback.
we couldn't
5 feet.
find it. Can you?
Yeah, I can find it,
Ted?
but that is kind of the same as Payson's.
Okay, 5 feet.
That's probably why they adopted it. It's like 5 feet from a property line to the edge of coping. So basically water over 5 feet.
Okay. If you can help us, maybe,
Yeah,
as
I'll
we
dig
do
into
more
it.
research on this. Ted looked for both
I
the
was going to forward it to
IBC.
you after I looked it up and I forgot.
Okay, and he couldn't find anything on it. So,
That does sound like a good general rule of thumb. Like I can't imagine you allowing it, not like at least 5 feet. Like there needs to be some
and there's a fence.
limit. I would,
We
yeah,
require
exactly,
a
because you
fence
need
to
to
go
squeeze
around
a
it,
fence
so-
in.
Well, and
And have a
also
walk around.
The decking requirements is 5
Yeah.
feet.
Yeah.
So I think they kind of just coincide with that. I thought it was 10 feet when we talked. Kaysville Cities is 10 feet
Okay.
of pool deck. No, it's 5 feet of decking and 5 feet of landscaping
Oh,
to
nice.
a property line.
Makes sense.
That's one I've been through a couple times. And so I looked at that as well, but
Okay. And we don't know the rationale or reason for the 20-foot setback from the home.
I don't understand.
We do
that.
have, in our accessory building standard, it has 20 feet. But the pool doesn't follow the same setback standards as an accessory building. So we're not quite sure where the 20 feet, the rationale for
Yeah.
that to be away from the home.
Wayne, do you think that could have been done for an enclosed pool? Maybe they addressed it that way? Because with an enclosed pool, it would be a fire thing, that if the pool house did catch on fire, the reason that we set them back a shed 20 feet
You need room to.
is so it doesn't burn the house down as easily, and it's more of a fire safety.
It's possible that it could have been because of that.
I wonder if that's.
And maybe if we look to changing the ordinance, maybe that's some clarification that we need to make in the wording of that to accommodate that sort of thing. So, your thoughts on in general?
It seems to me that the other thing we may need to put in here is that there are swim spas nowadays that are basically huge spas that have motor-driven force so you can swim in the spa itself.
Swim in place,
Right.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and so, I mean, that, 20 feet away from the house is not what it's gonna have to be.
Well, and we have a pool down, and you drive by it, right down in our city. The house goes over the top of the pool, right down in Summit Creek. so obviously that pool's underneath the house.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
And I've seen that several times.
part,
It's
yeah.
part of the home.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mission House certainly does not meet that 20 feet away
No.
from the
No.
house.
No, nobody's quite sure
Why it's there.
why that's that way. You know, our ordinance, the industry says swimming pools, spas, hot tubs, and similar devices shall meet the yard setback. And that just, it doesn't seem,
I mean, if spas are in there,
Yeah, that's, most
Yeah.
people put those on
Really
their
is.
deck.
yeah.
it makes no sense at all.
Now, they could, because they're, unless their deck is
Right,
less than,
right.
15 feet from their property line, but why include those things? I don't know. Anyway, I think it does need some attention,
Yeah,
to,
I mean, I've had 2 houses with pools. And, never had any real issue with, I didn't even know whether we got a permit.
Well, in Arizona, a lot of
Drop
times
it
it's
in.
just assumed. almost.
yeah, the weather and the way it
Yeah.
is and everything. So,
Kaysville, so the way Kaysville does it, I went through this with 2 homes, and you get a permit, you have inspections just like you would on a home. So you have, like if where your pool is a gunite pool, it would have rebar inspections, the whole thing, and
Yeah.
actually is, and it's strange to me, which is not holding anything up, but I guess for structural, you turn that in and everything. So.
And there has been rebar quite a few inspections.
we've had rebar
Yeah.
inspections.
So they have done that as
Yeah.
well up here.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
And apparently we were not focused in on the fact that it's not 20 feet from the property line.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So right now we can have a cement slab or a basketball court that goes up to the property line. But
Yes.
if you have cement and then it drops off into water, that's what we're saying, oh, you can't do that.
The cement slab, isn't that 10 foot? Because I know when we
I
did
thought
our
it was
cement
10
slab,
feet.
there was 10 feet,
Is
and
it
we
10
were.
feet, or I thought
Well, it
was
depends on the
5?
size of the court.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
But can't you call, aren't there
But it's
different
like
types of
it's like
cement?
an accessory building,
Okay.
the
Well,
basketball court.
just like the tennis court and properties. Right up to
That's
the
right.
property line, really.
It's
Because
5
the
feet.
fence is,
The fence
it's
is,
right on the edge of the tennis court.
yes.
Yeah. And that
Yeah.
was
But-
falling under an accessory building.
Now
I
you
thought it
got,
was a
now you
certain
got me
size
wondering,
for
Severn.
me.
You're
That's
right.
true.
I don't know why. Have to look at that again.
We probably need more detail in the ordinance, there's no question about that. You'd think that it's very vague the
And
way it
at
is.
20 feet, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Well, you wouldn't even be able to do it
It's
on the
just-
side
I
of your
think,
house
yeah.
if it was 20, would you?
No. Well, I think you have
No,
to have
you-
a 2-acre lot to accommodate all those rules.
Right. Yeah, because 20 feet away from the house,
And then 15 feet from
15
the other
feet from the
side,
property, yeah.
plus your other setbacks for your home itself, 50 and 50. Now you're really
50
trying
and
to
30.
squeeze 50, 30, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Well, I'm thinking of I don't know if they were the first 2 homes in Woodland Hills, Bushnell and Neely both had a pool right next to the homes on both of them.
Older ones,
Yeah,
yeah.
possibly the first 2 homes in the city.
And I don't, again, nobody knows what the
When you
rationale
got
was
it
for that
in.
20-foot setback from the home. It just doesn't seem to make.
Do we know when that ordinance was passed?
So they've inspected rebar, they've inspected, but no setback.
That's the issue we've run into now is we got this far in the process, but now we've realized that the setback's an issue. But I'm trying to not bring the issues at hand because I'm already dealing with those with the Wayne in the city and it's going good in civil and everything. And I know this isn't the meeting for that, but yeah, that's where we are now is like, oh, well, all of a sudden now we've done all these inspections that have passed, but now we're dealing with a setback issue.
So to fix that, we could change this ordinance, or would it be specifically for pools that we would change the setbacks?
Or we could lump pools into accessory buildings.
And then it would be fine.
Yeah.
That should be fine.
That may be something an alternative to look at.
How far do accessory buildings need to be back from the property line?
They like 10.
5 feet
Over there,
5
5,
feet?
that's correct.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
accessory building. We
Now,
may would want,
but there's still the issue then, because accessory buildings need to be 20 feet from the residence. So.
correct, we couldn't use that in total. We'd
Right.
have to,
You would have, there'd
Take
be a
pieces
note
of
that
it.
says the swimming pool can be in that.
yeah. Now, there's another issue too. The easement, our city easements, you can move an accessory building if you need to, but you're not gonna move a pool. So there needs to be, that's something we need to look at as far as a pool can't be built on an easement. Now, our easements, I think, are 8 feet on each side of the property line. So would need to research the easement issue
Correct.
because, with that in mind.
Are there easements in the back of it?
That's what, the thing that causes confusion, most all of our utility lines are at the front, along the front. But our ordinance says that, I think it's the back property line where the easement is. It's not along the side. And if the back, then we need to make sure that the easement doesn't interfere with somebody putting a pool back up against a back fence.
Yeah.
And I don't
So
have
now,
that
would an
book.
easement show on the county website though?
No,
Oh.
look,
It would
it's
be-
it's in Title 11.
So and there,
Easements.
there are some, talking with Corbett about this before he said that there is a water line that goes down an easement in an area and a sewer line of some sort. So that could be a concern.
It
Obviously,
can.
that would be something you
Yeah,
want
you
to
don't want
address.
to dig into that
Yeah.
for sure.
I know Summer
Yeah.
Creek has some of that where
Yeah.
they're running their lines down the side of a property line. But most all is in the front, along the front.
Now, where his lot is a corner lot and the home right above him is also a corner lot,
Right.
probably wouldn't have any easement there, would we?
Not on the back
But on the
or
side, right?
or the side.
On the west of your house?
Yes.
They'll
I
run
think that's
along
where
the
the sewer
front.
is.
But we can't tailor
Across the street.
an ordinance to
Mhm.
one piece of property.
Yeah.
We've
No.
we've
Yeah.
got to
No, that doesn't make any sense.
make it uniform so it applies. Um,
So it would need to say, if there is an easement, that needs to be taken into consideration.
Correct. Can't be built on
Can't
an
be
easement.
built on an easement. Just like we can't build an accessory building on an easement either.
No, we can.
We can as long as it's movable,
It doesn't get into that detail.
because, I mean, some accessory buildings aren't any easier to move than a pool.
No, you're right.
If you wanted to move your garage,
And if
you wouldn't want to do that, right?
Not moving my shop.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so,
So we definitely need to take that into consideration as we look at that further. Let me ask you this. I know, how would you feel about, in longhand, giving us your idea of what the swimming pool ordinance should look like? What it could or should be? Now, we're gonna take
Okay.
and look at all the rest of the moving parts and all of that, but I'd be interested in, some longhand thing about what you feel would work for the city. Not your case specifically, but take yours into consideration, but what you think would be an appropriate setbacks to have for swimming pool. And the 20-foot thing too, take that into don't know any purpose or reason, why
Yeah.
that might be there and sort of thing.
I mean, I could research and think and type in a more elaborate answer maybe, but off the top of my mind, what Lori and John have mentioned, the 5 feet setback seems like a good clean fit. I agree. You need something. You can't just have it go fence pool with, 1 foot cement gap. So
As long as there isn't an interference with an easement.
correct.
that
Yeah,
property.
yeah.
Mention easement,
So,
setback,
and that's,
what else?
I don't
The
know if
other
I
thing
got,
is, well, in the state code, it mentioned the 5 feet, given there wasn't another structure to move around.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's
So a
10
fen-
feet from the
yeah.
house and 5 feet from the property. If it needs extra feet from the footage from the home. But like
I
Severn
don't-
said, that you do have those lap pools, and
To be
most
honest-
people want those as close as they can because that's their exercise. And so they're going from in home to there, and in the winter, you want to keep that close. So.
yeah,
So I've seen more pools that are integrated with the home than that's what they're doing now, more
Yeah.
than standalones, like what you're doing.
Just cover.
we have
It's just,
one,
it's
Dave
part,
Taylor
yeah, Dave Taylor's in the home,
has, yeah.
and there's some that are part in the home, and then the other part of the home opens.
Peterson's.
Yes,
Peterson
Go
have one?
inside,
They have they have one of those
Lap pools.
lap pool deals.
yeah.
Yeah, they have one of the hot tubs or whatever.
Yeah, so
Right.
technically, maybe it's, I don't know what the zone is then from home, because
Yeah,
how do you accommodate, those would be technically 0 feet.
I think that 20 feet is silly for a pool, unless enclosed, and then you're gonna have to sprinkle it anyway. If it's tied to the home or a certain distance,
Yeah,
it'll have to be sprinkled,
Yeah.
just like the rest of our garages and everything else.
I don't think either one of my pools was 20 feet away from
Mine
the
wasn't.
house.
yeah.
Mine went right up to my foundation.
Here's
One of
one,
the houses.
one of the sentences in the Payson Code. It says swimming pools shall not be located in municipal or public utility easements. So
Copy
in
that.
some places, our
sure,
easements
yeah.
are different around the city, so it's hard to say a specific number,
Right.
but you say it can't be on an easement, and wherever
For sure.
that easement is, then, allowance has to be made. If it's
And
whatever.
in terms of Brad's and really all of the other houses up in Thousand Oaks, all the easements are in the front.
Yeah,
Oh,
but,
That's true.
I was looking on Elkridge's website and they said that the pool can't be in the front yard,
right,
basically, so,
yeah, and that's what we,
That's where-
it has to be
Yeah.
behind the plane,
behind the plane of the,
of the
yeah,
home,
front of the home.
so,
That makes sense, yeah.
And on the front plane of that,
The what?
the front plane.
Front plane,
Yeah.
yes.
We don't want to say the plane of the house.
No.
Front
front
Then
plane.
that would cut it off at a certain speed.
Us tricky homeowners will find a way around
We've
it.
had that, yeah.
You've got a pool house too, though, don't you, Brad?
Yeah, that's in the back, and there's no issues with
How far away from your property line in the back is that?
10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's an accessory building, would be considered an accessory building,
Yeah.
so it meets the,
It should be fine,
yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Larry, do you have any thoughts or comments on our discussion?
As long as I get a swimming pool in my yard, I don't care.
I'm with Larry.
Your wife's not after you to put a pool in, huh?
No, that's more my idea.
Okay. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind doing that, Brad, just give me a call when you got something, or you could email it to me. That's
Okay.
fine too, that we can kind of look at and maybe use that as a starting place if we move forward with this.
I mean, we're a little time sensitive.
Yeah, I think we need to
We
hurry.
would like to be time sensitive.
Yes, that would be appreciative.
We would like to come to the pool party.
Neighbors first gifts, yes.
Brad is
I mean,
starting,
the other option
He's starting a variance
Okay.
request.
Well,
That's what I was
but-
gonna say.
Yes, I've started a variance, but after talking with Ted, this would basically be the same amount of time. So this is the new
Okay,
resolvement, if we can do it this way.
And the
Okay.
variance judge
You know,
Wouldn't-
just, no.
has it.
I don't know. I made the whole packet, submitted it, but I'd rather do this.
Well, and I
Well, this
I
is-
don't
now
think
there's,
we
there's
really have
questions with
anything.
both of them, you know?
Yeah.
If, I think there's a sentiment here that would be supportive of something like that, but when it hits the city council, it's anybody's guess, you know? I think we can make a good argument for some changes. But we're just one half of the equation too, so just want you to
Yeah.
Well,
understand that.
The variance judge goes by the rules, and if you can build it, you know, closer or farther away from your boundary, that's what you should have done, and that's it. There's no, that's it.
Yeah, there's, and I think we've reviewed this with you too, that there are certain standards for the variance, and they hold to those standards. And if it's, well, it's be more convenient to do this or that, that's not part of the standard, and that's not considered at all.
Or if our rules don't make sense, that's not considered either, because that's the rule and that's what they go by.
Yeah, so they're pretty strict
Okay.
about that, and it's just, that's the way ordinances are written.
Well, I just think we need to expedite this. I mean, I think we pretty well agree that what's in there now makes no sense.
Yeah.
Zero.
And there's too many examples in the city already of pools that violate those standards that we have allowed, even within the last 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
That are close to the
Yeah.
property lines?
The one in Summer Creek.
Oh, so you mean close to the home itself?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't think well, there are 119 over there, so they've got some different setbacks, but in fact, there's
But it's
20 on
not
one
20,
side
But
and
not
15
from
on the
not-
other.
Yeah, it would still apply with.
So
the
they would,
assessment.
and I think they're out of compliance over there.
Away from the house.
So there's a question of whether they even got permission to
Chamberlain's isn't
put
20
the
away from the house.
pool in.
Okay, so how would we expedite this? If Brad writes up a suggestion, would we have to wait till next month and then we say yes or no? And then if we say yes,
There-
then it would go to city council the next time?
Yeah,
So that's maybe 6
it has to be a
weeks.
public hearing.
We have to have a public hearing, or
Mhm.
city council does?
We do, just one.
Can this
So-
count as that right now or no?
No,
Okay.
has to be
So we have
advertised.
to do it next.
Usually 2 weeks in advance, and it has to get the paper, and so there's timing there with announcement in the paper of,
So all these
what's
people can
going
come.
on.
Yeah, come and
say-
fight it or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we really need
You've seen
to
our.
have what we want to say within the next couple of weeks,
Yeah.
so that we can post it and have the hearing with next month's meeting.
Yes. Now, we won't be coming together again to discuss the wording. And we can't send it around for that purpose.
But we can have the wording ready to discuss next meeting.
We can. It'll likely be my wording, but we can change it.
Yeah,
That's what would be presented
So
in
short
the
and
public
sweet
hearing.
is good.
And then we get the feedback and say, well, this is good, that's bad,
Simple.
then from whatever I've done, and that's fine, then, but we can change it that
we
night.
change it in that meeting.
Yeah, to
Send it
do
on to
what
the city
we,
council.
correct,
I mean, we've done that a lot.
yeah.
Okay.
So, do you understand what we're,
Sounds like it, yes.
okay. So we need to get it,
Get the
and
word.
then Jody's not here. We need to get it published we'll have 2 weeks, and Jody will be back by then, so
She'll be here Monday.
we can get it published for a public hearing in March. and then we can have that discussion in March, a public hearing, and then that night we can agree on words and then send that to the city council.
Okay.
So our meeting is the third Wednesday, so city council would hear it on the fourth Tuesday.
Okay.
They meet second and fourth Tuesday of each month. So that's the soonest that we would have an answer. So,
Good by me.
Hopefully it snows a lot in
Ye-
between them, so you think I wouldn't have been able to work on the
Yeah.
pool anyway.
They
Now
covered
you're-
the thing.
Oh.
They worked it all the way.
They put
Okay,
two
never
to the
mind.
cover. But that-
Last year's cover wasn't as good as this year.
we talked about this at the meeting we had, but you're at risk in continuing to move forward with it.
yeah,
So anyway, just be aware of that
okay.
too. So. Okay, any other comments or questions, or Brad, you too, any
Nope, good by me.
questions you
Thanks for
have?
having me.
Okay,
I mean, each of us really could come up with some wording to say to you as well.
yeah. And we'll look at it here. I just can't involve,
I mean, independently, we can come up with some wording.
yeah.
Or propose ordinance.
That's a good point. I don't suppose that'd be a problem. If you had ideas, give me your ideas,
I mean,
each of
just
you.
like we're asking
Yeah.
Brad for ideas,
Right,
we can come up with ideas too.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, if we come prepared with that, that'll make it go quicker maybe.
yeah.
And then by next meeting, or, yeah, we can have a draft of what we're proposing.
Yeah.
We discuss it, clean it up if it needs to be cleaned up, do whatever we want to do.
The draft will have to be what goes out to the public for
Right.
consideration,
Right,
and we can adjust it as
so if we have
we
ideas,
need to.
we need to get those to Wayne
Yeah,
in the next
Okay.
2 weeks.
Okay.
I'll get that.
yeah, particularly that
Yeah, I'll get
issue
that
with,
decking. I think it was in the decking requirements.
okay,
That's where it talked about
all right.
Hopefully there aren't too many other things that don't make sense in our ordinances.
it. Are you kidding?
Well, it's like eating an elephant, a bite at a time.
Okay.
Okay, I don't have anything. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I so move that we adjourn.
Okay, 7:48.
I'll second that.
Larry, you know what, adjourn?
All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Very good, okay. We're good to go. Brad, thanks for coming tonight.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Sorry for not telling you which door it was.
I'm the little donkey here. I checked every other door and knocked on every other window.
Well,
Now he's gonna start coming to every meeting.
Yeah,
Hey,
this is a good time. We
good,
can hang
yeah.
out with the neighbors.
we
so
can,
All right.
The
you can do the
crowd.
bike indoors when you do it come winter time.
I have one of my bikes down on my exercise thing, and
Nice.
every morning, well, not every morning, but I gotta keep my rear end in shape.
Do you go for time or do you have a tracker on it that's tracking you?